This is Trend Following Radio, where great thinking comes alive. Nobel Prize winners, legendary traders, best-selling authors, and the pros that know what drive us irrational human beings. I am your host, Michael Covel. Not filtered, raw, honest. That's my passion. Curt Schilling used to play for the Boston Red Sox. He is a World Series hero. For those of you that might recall, he had a ligament damage on his ankle and he played through the game and there's a bloody sock and all this kind of stuff, and quite famous for it, quite successful, helped the Red Sox win a world championship. Really had a nice baseball career. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame yet. He might get there. Retired several years ago. These days, he's been working for ESPN as a baseball announcer. That was until recently. He got fired, shit-canned, tossed. He went online and he made a comment. He posted a picture about a transgender issue, and he ripped the system, ripped the establishment about allowing certain individuals to perhaps go into the bathroom with little girls. That was his view. In a normal course of events, he would be entitled to that view. We do have something in America called the First Amendment. But Curt forgot something. He forgot something pretty big. He was working for ESPN when he made these comments. ESPN is a big company. They're owned by Disney, aren't they? Mickey Mouse, Mom, Apple Pie. No controversy, or you're out. So it's not even really the issue of transgender, which again has somehow or another captured the attention of America. We have little kids that have embarrassing issues that they can't control on one side. And on the other side, we definitely have some perverts with ulterior motives. The real sickness on that issue, and that's not what this podcast is about, is the conflating of the two. But in America today, that's what we do. We lump it all together. We take the extreme positions and we put them in the same soup. Then we wonder why ESPN fires Curt Schilling for an opinion. Because he's not allowed to have an opinion. He works for the man. He works for the system. He's not free. So my point today was not to go down the Curt Schilling transgender path. No. The larger issue here. If you want to accept the money from the big player, willingly accept the money from the big player, you lose your freedom. That's the way the game works. So I salute Curt Schilling for having an opinion. And you know what? I salute the system. I salute ESPN for firing him, because ESPN is a profit-based company and they think they're going to lose profits by having Schilling involved. That's where we are. And my God, is it one big distraction? One big distraction. We can barely go in a straight line, but we seemingly have everything. And that leads me to a really great article. Now, you might not see the connection between this article and what I laid out with Schilling. It's about the freedom to make choices. You might think you have freedom. You might think you have choice. You might have this abundance in your life. But is it real? I want to read this article. This is titled Abundance from Joshua Brown of Barry Ritholtz's firm. Josh writes thereformedbroker.com. I definitely can't take credit for the ideas included herein. I'm a little bit jealous because these are the types of thoughts I have myself. And I'm sure you guys can all think about it too, that when you read something and you see it and you're like, oh my gosh, I've had those thoughts. I just couldn't write it out as well as someone else did. So there's always a little jealousy. There's always like, hey, I wish I had that thought. But then that gives way to the idea of like, who cares who wrote it? This is the truth. I think what I'm about to read from Josh's blog is the truth. The only way to save the economy is to crash it. There's too much of everything, and it's not good for anyone. It's hurting everyone. Paradoxically, abundance is now the enemy. This sets us apart from virtually every other society throughout history. You can blame the Federal Reserve's loose money policies if you like. There is overinvestment in every industry. It's killing confidence. Nothing is worth what it used to be. We haven't adjusted to this reality yet. Unlimited music, $9 a month. Unlimited movies and TV shows, $13 a month. Unlimited news and journalism, $0 a month. Facebook is free. Twitter is free. Snapchat is free. Instagram is free. YouTube is free. Video game apps are free. Texting is free. Sexting is free. Let me insert here for a second. I guess if you use this app Tinder, and this is not Josh's comment, this is my comment. If you use this app Tinder, I can't say that I've ever logged on, but I know plenty of guys that use this thing. Not only is sexting free, sex is free if you have the Tinder app. Josh continues, Skyping is free, chatting is free. Why would you spend money on anything? Where do you think people spend their time now? Endless entertainment and content for almost nothing. Oil costs almost nothing too. We have so much there's nowhere to even store it. Natural gas supplies are overflowing. They're burning it off at the wellhead. Coal demand is going extinct. Copper prices, iron ore prices, it's going bidless. No one wants it. They keep producing more regardless. Why? I don't know. It's what we do. Portfolios are free. Give us $1 billion. We'll lose money on the cost of managing it for you. Online asset management firms are spending $600 to acquire a customer that will pay them $60. Their financial backers love it. It's user growth. What's the business model? We go public or get bought out by someone with the opposite problem, too much profit, not enough user growth. The business model is an exit for the investors. BlackRock will eat it. They eat anything. No one cares how many actual business models get wrecked in the process. How many useful jobs are lost in the process? The new fixed income or currency trader on Wall Street will never need healthcare or take a vacation or grab a female coworker's ass. It's the chip on a server. Much cheaper to employ, much easier to manage. Automate everything. Outsource the rest. It's cheaper for the customers. But now there are no customers left. No one has the money to be a customer anymore. Congratulations on your efficiency. Start up, cash in, sell out, bro down. Let's take a product or service that people used to charge for, make a worse version, and give it away for free. Why would we do that? Bro down. Clayton Christensen's book on disruption, The Innovator's Dilemma, has been twisted into an entirely different book. It was once the Bible. Now it's Necronomicon, the book of the dead. Even money is free. The people in firms with the least need to borrow it can borrow it with abandon. Apple can have as much money as it wants virtually free. They have no idea what to do with it. The US and German and Japanese governments can borrow for free. Then what? There is nowhere to put the money and no will to risk using it for the future. The electorate is old. They don't care about the future. They don't have one, just a present. We live in their basement. We live in their extended past. Malinvestment is everywhere. The capital markets runneth over. Give us something with an income stream to put our money into. Even the promise of an income stream will suffice. Here's the perfect business idea for this environment. Open a $100 bill store. Trademark it, of course. You'll sell $100 bills for $90 each. You'll lose $10 per transaction, but you'll do $1 trillion in revenues in year one. Maybe you show an ad to everyone who walks into the store and you break even. User growth will be on the order of 1,000% a month. 1 billion users. You'll be the biggest IPO of all time when Goldman's underwriters get wind of that growth rate. Go public and let someone else worry about a competitor selling $100 bills for 85. When you can have anything at any time, is anything worth anything? Including freedom. That's my insert right there, including freedom. Here are the results. You can get a job, but there's nowhere you can afford to live that is anywhere near that job. You can create your own job, but absent access to capital markets, you can't compete with those who have it. Plenty of hiring in New York and San Francisco. Good luck living there. What a difference a year makes. Today is my 39th birthday. This is Josh's 39th birthday. I wish I could still say 39. Back to Josh. A year ago, I was writing about scarcity. There is no such thing. Today, there is too much of everything and no demand for it. Abundance is wrecking the economy. Too much oil, too much gas, too many websites and shows and streaming services and apps, too many subcultures and verticals and genres. How can anyone be seen or heard? How can anything rise above the den? We used to have a pop culture. The biggest song on the radio, the biggest movie in the theaters, the #1 show on television, the best-selling book. Now we have 50 different pop cultures, microcultures within subcultures within cultures. There is no agreement on anything. If you're wondering why the fringe candidates are the mainstream candidates in this election cycle, it's because there is no mainstream. It's because only the most extreme views can be heard across all of the cultures and platforms and verticals and genres. You have to sound like a fucking insane person. Kanye knows this. Kim taught him. Trump knows this instinctively. I can be anything to any group I'm speaking to. He was born for this moment in time. Sanders figured this out accidentally. For God's sake, he is tied with Clinton for the Democratic Party's nomination and running on a Castro plan for the economy. His message is extreme enough to get through the noise like Trump's. How else can you reach the stoners, burnouts, communists, veterans, social justice warriors, union members, Black Lives Matters, truthers, birthers, health goths, TED talkers, money guys, values voters, evangelicals, patriots, gun nuts, tweakers, Tea Partiers, retirees, millennials, boomers, and CrossFitters? ? We're electing maniacs. We're more connected than ever, and it's making everyone feel more alone. Connectivity is giving us a consistency of the like-minded. I love that line. Again, you now know why. And this is Mike talking, not Josh. You now know why I led with Curt Schilling. When you can find think-alikes online, there's no reason to even have a conversation with anyone who thinks differently. We're retreating back into our subcultures. The only consensus is that there isn't one. What do we do with all this everything that we have? All the abundance that's holding us back? I don't have any answers other than what I began with. We need a washout. A recession would be plenty. No need for anything worse. It's got to be flushed from the system. Bad business models that were never designed to succeed outside of raising capital to continue must not be allowed to continue. No need for legislation. The cycle will clean it. It always does. The best thing that could happen here is for the return of the cycle. We're in year 7 of an expansion and no one is happy. It's time for a contraction. It's long overdue. Large pools of money need to be drained so they can no longer be a source of malinvestment on an epic scale. Some people have to suffer for the benefit of the whole. Spock told Kirk this, quote, "Logic clearly dictates that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few," end quote. The few will be just fine, even if they have to lose a few dollars. The many will not be fine until the current cycle turns and we wring out some of the excess. And then we can begin again. Less abundance of resources will demand more ingenuity. The system will be back on track. The present situation cannot stand. Start up, cash in, sell out, bro down. What the hell are we selling? Time wasters and profit shrinkers in the place of companies and industries. Schumpeter didn't have the current version of creative destruction in mind when he coined his phrase. This is destructive destruction. The abundance is killing us. That's just a great piece. Let me add a few thoughts. First, Josh is spot on. Is there anyone out there that has any disagreement with what he just said? How can you? If you have a pulse, if you're alive, if you can still think? Number 2, When that cycle might return, no one knows. It might not ever return. It might just keep going like this. For those of us that are alive in the middle of our lives, it could go like this for decades. Why not? What's to stop it? I mean, something will stop it, but maybe not. And we sure as hell can't predict when or how. And ultimately, if we are markets people, if we are people that believe in the market, and we have to trade to try and make money, we have to make bets in those markets, I think it's 100% absolutely mission critical that we all understand and believe what Josh just wrote. But then again, there's absolutely no way that you can apply what he said. Even though I agree with it, there's no way you can apply what he said for when you buy, for when you sell, for your portfolio of markets, for how much you bet on each trade. Having the knowledge of what Josh said doesn't help you. And as a side, Josh is almost really making the argument for why it's just best to tune out completely, to tune out and turn off. I mean, things are really becoming manic. The way people are thinking, the way they're arguing, the numbers of logical fallacies I see in debate. People don't have arguments anymore. They have transparent hatred for someone or something. They can't defend it. They make shit up. And they think everyone else is dumber than they are. So they can make something up that's so fucking transparent that you just know it's 100% bullshit. But they don't care. They're going to hold on to that till the end, till the bitter end. Because right now, this abundance has given everyone the ability to think and imagine that they are the president of the United States. This abundance has given everyone unlimited power. Now, it can be fake power, it can be Facebook power, it can be blogging power, but now everyone has unlimited power. Everyone feels they are strong. If they can write a word, if they can speak a word, make a video, they now have strength. Whether or not they get reward for it, whether or not there's any profit to be shown for it, one of Josh's points, immaterial. They don't care. This is all about ego feeding. Massive, massive, massive ego feeding. That seems to be all anyone wants anymore. The real is gone. Now it's just feed my ego, make me feel good, and let me pretend to you that I'm doing something important. And also remember, as I give you my opinion doesn't mean shit. I think I'm right. I think Josh is right. Damn it, when you got to bet on a market, you bet on the market not listening to my view, not listening to Josh's view, not listening to some random voice on TV and whatever insanity they're saying. I mean, at least you can listen to me, you can listen to Josh, you can listen to other like-minded people on my show, and you can verify, you can find out, you can figure out where their thinking comes from. There's a trace, there's a thread that goes somewhere down a rabbit hole where you can figure it all out. Anybody right now could break down every word in Josh's piece and understand why he came to that position. And you could feel like, wow, okay, I got some understanding. I'm in a good place now. Josh followed up on his piece with a great quote from Eric Peters. And Josh goes on to say, the basic notion I had was that malinvestment everywhere and non-profit-seeking behavior on the part of the well-financed businesses are doing a lot of damage in the economy, and that it might be better if we had a flush. This is me talking now, Mike talking now. That flush could be anything. That flush could be a crash, a wipeout, whatever. A flush could be taken as what it means, a flush. Let me read that quote from Eric Peters that Josh found. People work in order to convert their time into a unit of account. We call that money, and it's an invention that allows us to store time. Most people have stored little or none, so when they receive money, they quickly purchase necessities, food, shelter, healthcare. People who are able to save money inevitably purchase real estate, stocks, bonds, all of which are alternative vehicles for storing time. One share of Google stores 30 hours of work for the average American, or 30 minutes of copying and pasting formation documents for the average hedge fund attorney. Bill Gates has stored enough time to fund a 1 billion person army for 20 years. As the gulf between people's income has grown, the amount of stored time has accumulated in fewer hands. Wealthy people convert their hours into financial assets so they can accumulate excess hours relative to their fellow man. But the average worker is simply thinking how to exchange hours for dollars and then exchange those for food. Central banks face a different problem altogether. They need to get people who've saved time to exchange it for something other than clever inventions that store it. They've largely failed. So now, everything that stores time is extremely expensive and offers little or negative return, while the pace of economic activity slows. The problem that we face now is that there is simply too much time that's been saved. Another way of saying is that there's too much capital in the world in too few hands. To restart the system, capital needs to exchange hands or be destroyed, spurring people to rebuild their store of time rather than just save it. It's an elemental truth that at some point, through inflation, war, or confiscation and redistribution, this imbalance will correct and the system will then restart. I don't like the idea that we're ostracizing those that have too much. But there's no doubt about the truth of that ending statement. This imbalance will correct and the system will then restart. We just don't know when. And if you don't know when, if you have no fucking clue when the shitstorm will hit, when you will get smacked in the head, when somebody will take the 2x4 and crack it over your neck so you feel pain like you've never felt before. You have no earthly idea when that will happen. But damn it, a lot of people that have come before us have given us a lot of smart ways to think about the unforeseen, about the chaotic unforeseen that we know is coming down the pike. If we know what Josh and Eric Peters are saying is true, if we know there will be a reset, there will be a flush, tell me the options. How will you manage it? How will you protect yourself? How will you take advantage of that opportunity when it happens? Because if the flush happens, actually, I shouldn't say if, when the flush happens, the opportunities are going to be astronomical. Oh, sure, when the flush happens, you want to protect yourself because let's face it, the average Joe is going to get their ass handed to them when the flush happens. Those that have the excess time units, they'll be fine. Oh my, though. The little guy that's trusting the buy and hold system, trusting that he will be taken care of. What does he face? If everything that I've talked about in this episode today is true, then you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared for opportunity, and you need to protect yourself. It's a double-edged sword. How many strategies, how many investing strategies do you know that can handle a world of abundance? How many investing strategies do you know about that can handle a world of abundance when it's clear as day that the abundance is fake? It's not real. It's not sustainable. It will crater. It's up to you to have a plan. You're responsible. You can't blame some government bureaucrat. You can't say that you elected some politician and you trusted the election process and you trusted that he would pass legislation to make your life better. If you trust a politician right now, you're brain dead. What do you trust a politician for? They're all in the take. Hillary and Bill Clinton have been paid $153 million in the last 15 years for speaking appearances. $153 million. You think I'm exaggerating? Google it. Old Bernie Sanders, who's made a hell of a dent in the Clinton machine, the best he can do is say that Hillary's been paid a couple $100,000 by Goldman Sachs. You can bet damn well that if it is Clinton and it is Trump, he's going to say $153 million. This is all the show. This is all the nonsense. I mean, look, I get excited too. It's kind of fun to watch it all. It's theater. But isn't that the ultimate point that Josh is talking about? We're just all sitting back and waiting for something. We're being entertained. As Kurt Cobain said, here we are, entertain us. Well, we're all being entertained. But we all know in the back of our mind that something is brewing. Something will come. Something will happen. And it will make us feel as uncomfortable as October of 2008 did. Maybe not as bad, maybe 10 times worse. It's up to you to have a strategy. If you don't, it's all on you. If you go broke, it's all on you. That's life. And for those of you that want to disagree with me, I will let Johnny Rotten tell you how I really think. I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, trend following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com. I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.